So that was Inside Dreams from Sam French, new track, great new track. So on Friday, I'm joining the studio now by Sam. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. How you doing?
I'm very good. Well, I've seen you a few times over the last few weeks, but being in this situation, it's a couple of years now, isn't it?
It's oddly familiar, isn't it? It's nice to be back. I think it's probably been nearly 2 years since I sat like this.
Yeah. And how obviously loads of changes with you. As we were last going into Spark Studios and you were helping out, you were with the band. You were kind of taking a bit of time out and getting to grips with the industry. Since then, you've gone back and finished off your degree and got into this new solo project.
That's exactly it. I think the pandemic for me, it gave so much time to stop and think. I think it was a case of sort of evaluating where I was and where I was going, and having that time to sort of stop and think made me realise I want to do something a bit different, really.
Mm-hmm. So why so this slight change of direction music-wise? What influenced you? Why did you move this? It's kind of dancey,
It is.
But yeah.
Well, there was a lot of different stuff for me. I think I'm always sort of not so fast to put a label of genre on something. I think the best way to do things is create and see what happens afterwards. And for me, like, Daft Punk were a huge influence when I was younger, and I think leaning into that sort of style, I find it a bit more interesting. I think I've done the rockier thing for quite a long time, and I think having that sort of dancier, especially sort of summer vibe, I enjoy it a lot more.
Yeah. I was expecting loads of whoops from Patrick in the background, so he loves Daft Punk, and obviously the news that they kind of finally called it a day must have been quite sad. Did you mourn that for a while?
Yeah, I was walking to the post office, and I looked at my phone, stopped, and had to hold back a few tears. It was it's difficult because when I was younger in the car, that's all my parents would play constantly. It's just Daft Punk on and on and on. Never got to see them live because they didn't really perform often. Yeah. So it was a bit gutting that they've gone, but I mean, what a career they've had anyway.
Yeah. So talk me through the production process. I know, previously in the band and when you were at uni, you were very much an all-rounder. And, I know you did the tech side of it, but you've always played a number of instruments for a few years. And so talk me through the songwriting process, what's it about, and then the recording process.
Absolutely. So the majority of it was by myself. I think that's something I've always wanted to do, is have that sort of milestone of creating it from start to finish. But then I realised that's really difficult. So what I've been able to do is I've managed to bring in my girlfriend with the artwork and Carmel for the vocals on the second track. So it was all recorded in my apartment. I mean, especially with the pandemic and things, I must have wrote and recorded about 10 to 15 songs.
Really?
Threw about 13 in the bin. They're the only two good ones, so that's what it's been.
What made that decision then? Why discard some?
I think it was a case of refining and, to be honest, honing my craft. I think I'm not a solo artist, conventionally. It's not something I'd ever actually think I would do. But I think it got to a point where I thought, I can't sit here during the pandemic, and I've been lucky enough to have the time and the fortune to be able to spend time creating. And I thought, there's no point sitting here and, mourning, not being able to go anywhere. So I thought I'll try and make something a bit creative out of it.
Yeah. Have there been any, highs, lows over the past kind of year and a half? I know obviously it was a big decision to take the year out, and then obviously a big decision to then go back. Was that always the plan, or was it a case of just see kind of how it goes? And
well, I'd be lying to you if I thought it would turn out how it has, but I think that was always the process. I know even when I was at the college, I did get asked, is this definitely the right thing for you to do? And I said yes. And the reason I said yes wasn't because I'm going to be a rock star and be famous. I said I need to go out and make some mistakes and learn. I need to go and find out what's up, find out what I'm doing wrong, rather than being told, and that's what's happened.
Yeah. To what mistakes then? Do you want to dwell on any of those, or what have you learned? To let's say that. What have you
I've
learned?
Learned loads. I think primarily, and it's a bit of a cliche, but I think if you want something done, you got to do it yourself. I know if you want something really badly, such as music, you can't really rely on someone that isn't as invested.
Yeah.
And I think if you're not about it, if you're not going to show up, you're not going to put the effort in, no one will do it for you.
Yeah. So Carmel, who's Carmel and how did that come about?
Well, she's at my uni. She's I do uni online. It's based in Brighton, and we're the only two Northerners, so there's an immediate sort of connection there. And I recorded the song first. I did the vocals, and they weren't strong enough. To be honest, that's the truth. I recorded it and thought this isn't good enough. So I did contact her on a whim and said, look, do you fancy giving it a go? And she was really game for it, and she recorded it, and I thought it elevated it massively.
Yeah, it definitely does go. I would be interested to hear what your version of it, but really goes.
Maybe not.
So we'll have a listen to the next song now, Pieces of Me. What's that? So you obviously wrote and produced it, but Carmel did the vocals. What's it all about?
Well, that one in particular, I wrote that song about a year ago, and it was when I was sort of questioning what I was doing and thinking, am I really making the right decisions? Which I came to the conclusion, no. So I think that song for me was really reflective on that period in my life, and I think I listen to it now and think it's about sort of progressing further. So I really enjoy that song, and I think it's quite, for me, quite emotional, so I really enjoy it.
So what plans have you got over the next few months?
Well, I'm aiming to put out, give or take, a single a month for myself. I've been producing for other artists, which has been amazing. I've been working with people in South Korea and in Canada, which has been great.
Okay.
And for me, I've got, with this track, there's 2 animated videos coming out. There's a performance video of each. And I'm just hoping to continually put stuff out every month is the goal, definitely.
Right. So obviously you've been doing, quite a bit over the last couple of years, but, without necessarily putting it out. Before that, you were active with a band, with Infernal Bloom. But does this feel like you're starting from scratch? Does it feel like a fresh start, or does it feel like a bit of a head start?
I think every experience you have is massive, and that's one thing I've learned. Even when you follow the likes of sports and things, you see the more you do something, the better you're going to be. And I think having that knowledge, when I first started out, I felt like a kid in a man's world. Now I feel like I know a little bit more, and I'm on the first sort of rung of the ladder, and I know the sort of connections to make. So I feel as if I'm not starting from scratch, but it does feel really refreshing to just think I can, put out what I want when I want. Yeah,
less restricted. If you were going to do stuff live, would you have to assemble people, or would you do it again as a one-man band with Wizards of Technology, you think?
I think the answer would be a bit of a combination of both. I think I haven't got any plans to go live at the moment, but I am hoping to in the future. And I think once I've got a few more songs under my belt, I will be making a few phone calls and hopefully getting some people to come along and play.
Tell me a little bit about the production stuff you've been doing for the people around all corners of the globe.
Yeah, well, I've been quite lucky. I've had some fantastic mentoring through my uni, and I'm set up on a platform called Sound Better. It's owned by Spotify, and I got contacted by a local fitness company, and it's a mad story. So they came to me basically and said, we're producing this content, we want music to go along with it. I said, fantastic. I said, can you do it? I said, yes. Could I do it? I don't know. So I did manage to do it, but I was still working in a supermarket at the time, and we'd already agreed on a fee, everything was sorted. And one of them in the sort of hoodie walked past, and I sort of just put the hood over, walked around the corner, because I thought I can't be charging them saying I'm a professional and then serving them chicken nuggets 5 seconds later. But that's come off really well. That's pretty much finished now.
So how can people find out more about everything you do? You've got a website, haven't you, with everything on there?
Yeah, well, the easiest place to find me is probably my Instagram. It's Sam French Music. That's the same on all platforms.
Okay, good. I like someone who's got simplistic kind of taglines and places to go. Do you miss the days of those our little jaunts over to St Peter's and Liam's football crack and sort of used to ganging up on me this black and white, red and white rivalry thing?
That's the one. I really do actually. I think it's something you don't really realise what you're doing at the time, and I'd be lying if I didn't take it for granted. I think I did. But I think you look back at it and go, it's given me the sort of confidence to just continue on, and I think that was actually a really big part of my development. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, I could see that. I can see you've always been like old beyond your years almost, and is that the influence of your parents and your older brother?
Yeah, well, you know what it is? There's 4 of us, and we've always been like that. I think we moved around a lot when we were younger. We lived in Spain for a little bit. We moved down south, and I think always being the new kid was a big part of that. I think overall I went to about 11 schools.
Really? 11 secondary schools?
All primary. So I went
right.
1 secondary, all primary. But what it did is every time you walk in a room, you've got to prove yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually been really healthy, to be honest. I think it's really helped me be more confident.
Yeah, character building, yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, mate.
And my pleasure.
Hope everything goes well with the release on Friday. Remember, you can head over to the streaming channels, people, and listen to those, download them wherever you can.
Thank you.
Give him a bit of support on his socials, Sam French Music, and then hopefully we'll be back in a few weeks' time, whatever, with either a live show or just a bit more of an update. Yeah,
definitely. I'd love to.